Coming up in this Brightline construction update. This update is the second of a mini-series looking at the progress on the Orlando line, specifically from Dallas Blvd to just west of Interstate 95. Brightline's Orlando line is an all-new rail line that Brightline will use to get from the Florida East Coast Railway in Cocoa to the future Orlando station at Orlando International Airport. This edition will look at the central portion of the line between Dallas Blvd in the west to just short of Interstate 95 in the east. We'll start at Dallas Blvd. I am flying west down the ramp here. Rails for the main line have been threaded and are ready for ties to be laid. Ties have been laid up to the bottom of the ramp as of the time I was flying. In the distance, ties are laid across the Econ-Lockhatchee River Bridge, and rail is starting to be attached to them. Now facing east, we'll fly up and over the Dallas Blvd Bridge. The bridge deck has had the initial layer of ballast dropped on it. Fencing is now up, lining the north side of the right-of-way. And here is an intermediate signal. The pole is an antenna that will be used for positive train control. This is also a staging area for the crews building the tracks, with ties staged here, along with a couple of loaders used to move them out along the line. We'll now head back west and over the bridge again. This bridge is built and painted to a design similar to the highway bridges, likely due to the fact that this portion of the line is on land leased from the Central Florida Expressway Authority. Longtime viewers will remember the metal pipes under the concrete here that signify where the additional pilings will go when the time comes to eventually double track this bridge. Brightline's plans for service only require a single track in this area initially. We'll now move east toward the area where the construction borrow pits are located. We'll start with the flight east toward another intermediate signal that is powered by solar panels. Solar panels are an environmentally friendly way to provide the needed power in areas where commercial electrical service is not currently available. Subballast is in place and graded all the way to State Road 520. Now facing west, we'll head over toward the borrow pits. Here are the pits. This is where the majority of the fill used to build up the right-of-way and the various ramps and embankments for the bridges came from. With most of that work now complete, this operation is now just a fraction of what it had been. Once all the required fill has been obtained, these pits will fill in with water and be reclaimed as ponds. The pond in the back left is an example of this. Here's one more flight back east. The State Road 520 bridge is next. This bridge has had the most dramatic change since my last update on the line. The western ramp is nearing completion up to the bridge itself. The bridge had its pilings completed, and the beams have also been recently installed. State Road 520 currently has a single lane closed in each direction as work on the beams is going on. Here's a flight across the bridge at roughly an engineer's eye view. Crews are currently working to form the rebar for the sides of the bridge. The ramp on the east has been completely built up as well. There is almost no work complete in this area in my previous updates. The right-of-way curves left slightly here, as the right-of-way the tracks follow shifts from one leased from the Central Florida Expressway Authority from the airport to 520, to one leased from the Florida Department of Transportation for the rest of the route from 520 to Cocoa. By the next time I film an update here, I would expect the bridge deck to be finished along with both ramps. We'll now drive along State Road 528 before flights on both the west and east banks of the St. Johns River. Here's the ground view of the eastern side of the 520 bridge as I turn on the entrance ramp to head east. Subballast has been spread and graded throughout this area. Signals are now up in this area. Here's a cantilever signal just before the Second Creek Bridge, which is also complete. And here is the Jim Creek Bridge. With all of the major civil construction work completed, the drainage ditch between the road and right-of-way had been graded to its final elevations and had grass laid. Fencing has also been installed along the right-of-way. This bridge goes over the access road for the Tosahatchee Wildlife Management Area. And here's another cantilevered intermediate signal with solar panels. This smaller arched bridge is for a small creek and to allow wildlife to pass under. I believe the 528 will also have a wildlife underpass installed here when it is eventually widened. And now we will take to the skies, flying east toward the St. Johns River. Walls are up on both sides here as the right-of-way rises in advance of the river. This first small bridge goes over what is known as Taylor Creek, which is part of the St. Johns River. The first side of this bridge is complete, and the pilings are in place for the second half. So when the time does come to double track this bridge, it'll be as simple as installing the beams and building the deck instead of also having to do more pile driving. We'll now fly back west along the alignment. This section is just getting ready to have more grass laid in the drainage ditch. Here's a look at that arched bridge I showed earlier from the road. We're now on the east side of the St. Johns River, flying east for a quick look at some more signals before we take a look at the bridge itself. This is another location that is powered by solar panels. And now for a flight into the sunset to look at the river. This video is filmed across 2 days, hence the different lighting and weather conditions depending on the location. And here's the bridge. The beams are in place and the deck is complete. With the finishing touches being completed, crews are now working to demobilize the site and finish the embankment between the right-of-way and the road. You can see the Taylor Creek Bridge in the distance. Here's an overview of the bridge. We'll finish with a drive along the 528, down to the final curve before the Interstate 95, State Road 528 interchange. The wall is complete along the outer edge of this curve, here with the drainage ditch now in place. Here's another intermediate signal location. And back in the air for a look around this curve. And here are more intermediate signals. Subballast is in place for most of the curve, though there still is a section a little farther east near Pine Street that crews are still working on that need it. In the distance you can see the Interstate 95, State Road 528 interchange, which I will look at in the next update. And here is a flight west. Coming up next time, a look at the rest of the route east, including the Interstate 95 bridge, Cocoa Panel Tunnel, and Cocoa Box Jack Tunnel.